All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free 800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And our main website where you can listen to the X Zone 24/7, 365. www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Joey Korn, and Joey is a modern-day mystic, spiritual teacher, global leader in the world of dowsing, and as a passionate spiritual seeker for over 40 years, Joey has found dowsing combined with the blessing process to be the most powerful tool we each have at our disposal to grow spiritually, to heal, and improve our lives. Joey specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He condenses years of dowsing exploration into a unique and extraordinary system of practical understanding and application. Joey shares this knowledge in the revised edition of his book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment. His website, www.dowsers.com. And Joey, great having you back with us here in the X Zone. How have you been?
I've been great. It's great to be back on the show with you.
Joey, for our listeners,
it's been quite a few years, I think.
It certainly has. It certainly has. And you know what? Dowsing still amazes me. I was wondering if you could share with our listeners what got you to do the dowsing, the spiritual teaching, and what has made you into a modern day mystic.
Well, it goes back, I guess, to when I was, about over 40 years ago. Not dowsing, but let's start with the last question. I had a mystical experience that just changed my life forever. I had an out of body experience, and it wasn't the wonderful illuminating thing or the wonderful thing in itself that you hear when people have have a near-death experience and they see the light and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, it was pretty frightening because I wasn't prepared for it, and I actually thought I was dead, but I wasn't. I was very much alive, but my soul had left my body, and I thought I was doomed to. I thought I was doomed. I didn't have the understanding that I have now. But then, really, love brought me back. I didn't think I could get back to my body. I was so far away, and I just didn't want to leave my family. I didn't want to leave my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife of 37 years, I think. And when and that brought me back. And when I came back, I was changed. Now I won't say I was a different person. I was just more me than I ever was. That started me on a path to really search for the real meaning in life and to understand as much as I could about the powers of mind and the powers of love. And for some, I don't know, I can't explain how. But through this experience, even through the negative part of it, I knew when I came back, I knew God is. Whatever God is, whatever however we define what God is, there is a universal power, a universal creator that created us and created the universe, and it mattered. I knew how I lived my life, and I knew love could change things. So that started me on a quest to understand as much as I could about life and about energy and about, again, the powers of mind. And through the years, I've studied many things. I studied many people's teachings, many of the masters, and I wanted to grow, and I wanted to be as fulfilled and happy as I could. And then through the years, that was back in '74, and then in '86, I had already been, well on my path for then 12 years, and our septic tank stopped up in the in our family lake house, which is where I had my first mystical experience.
Right.
And about 20 miles outside of Augusta, Georgia, and two professionals in the business, in the sewer repair business, couldn't find our septic tank.
All right, Joey, what we're going to do is,
looking for it.
Joey, we're going to have a bit of a cliffhanger here. I have to take a 2-minute commercial break. We'll be right back.
Sure.
Joey Korn is my very special guest, www.dowsers.com. I'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute break with Joey Korn as we continue here in the X Zone. Don't go away. Exonation, my guest this hour is Joey Korn. He is a modern-day mystic. He's also a spiritual teacher and global leader in the world of dowsing. His website, www.dowsers.com. That's DOWSERS.com. All right, Joey, before we went to the commercial break, we did a bit of a cliffhanger. Old guys like you and I really appreciate them. All right, so you had this septic problem in your lake house. You called in two professionals. They couldn't find it.
Yeah, in our lake house, we had the septic tank stopped up, and sewage was backing up in the house. And I like to say at this point, you never know what will bring about a mystical experience or a spiritual experience.
I guess.
And two professionals in the business, in the sewer repair business, couldn't find my septic tank in 2 hours of searching for it, and they left. And so I called the water and sewer service, figuring maybe they could help me, the public service. And they said, no, that's not what we do. But the guy said, tell me how to get there. I'll come out there and I'll find that septic tank for you. And this nice old man came out within 30 minutes, and he found our septic tank in 2 minutes with a pair of bent-up coat hangers.
Wow.
He was dowsing. And I had wanted to learn how to douse since I was a child, but I tried several times, and I just didn't get, nothing happened. But he taught me how to douse. He taught me everybody could douse. A lot of people think you have to have a special gift. I've taught thousands of people to douse by now, and anyway, I was hooked, and I didn't know that was going to be my life, my life work in some future time, but I was a passionate dowser. I wanted to know not only how to find septic tanks and underground streams or spot wells. I wanted to know what all I could find with dowsing. And I just immediately started looking, and dowsing and saying, what can I get reactions to? And then over the years, I finally, many years later, in '96, I attended my first dowsing conferences. We have dowsing conferences in several places a year throughout the U.S. and a few also in several places throughout Canada. And I went to one of these, and it just opened up my whole world. And I realized dowsing is way more than finding anything in the physical world. Now I know. When you're getting a dowsing reaction, everybody doesn't know what dowsing is, but it began with the old-timer finding a place to drill a water well with a forked stick. Yeah. And you walk around, you're holding this forked stick by the two ends of it, from a branch from a tree, and when you get over a place to drill a well, the the point of the, you might call it the Y, the point, the joined part of the stick pulls down, and it pulls down so hard it'll break bark off in your hand sometimes, depending on the kind of tree, and people drill there, and that's how it all started. But now I know from my own experience through all these years that it's not the water we're getting reactions to. Dowsing has also gone to finding minerals and oil and lost objects and missing people and missing animals, but it's not anything in the physical world that we're getting the dowsing reactions to. It's the energy, the subtle energy counterpart of those physical things or substances that we're getting the reactions to. Once you realize that you're getting your dowsing reactions to energy, it opens up a whole new world, because everything in the physical world has a subtle energy counterpart. And there are many things that you can get dowsing reactions to that don't really seem to be directly a part of the physical world, but they are indirectly a part of the physical world. I've now, it's just helped me understand the energies of nature, of creation, that are behind everything in life, that are supporting us every minute of every day. What we have to realize, these energies of creation, these earth energies, these universal energies, will support our negative stuff of life just as well as they'll support our positive, joyful stuff of life. And they support our negative stuff of life, our negative emotions and our thoughts, anger, fear, jealousy, rage, with what you might call negative energies. I prefer not to use that term. Let's say detrimental or unbalanced energies.
Okay.
And they support our positive stuff with positive, positive beneficial energies.
So tell me,
and you can change it. That's the key. You can change the energies and then change your life when you combine the dowsing, or you just use blessing, what I call the simple or the blessing process, or the simple blessing process, to change your life, and it really does.
So tell me, Joey, what's the science behind it?
The science, science doesn't really accept it. I call it more an art.
Okay.
But once you pick up that forked stick, or I use a pair of bent coat hangers or a wire rod, not really coat hangers, bent pieces of wire. I have a more sophisticated version than I used back then, and they're called L rods. And when those rods will open, when you're walking around looking for whatever you're looking for, and they open and point in opposite directions or cross to make like an X, which is the way most people think of it, you can do it again and again in the same place. Whatever you're asking to find or thinking of, you'll get that same reaction. Something is happening. And my science of it is through, or my art of it has been through many years of experience and working with thousands of people. And I explore the energies of people's homes, and I know what certain kinds of energies that I find in certain places in a home and in people's human energy patterns, that I call it. I know what those energies mean, and I can turn what many might think of as a psychic reading. It's really not psychic at all. I turn it into a rational, logical system of dowsing and blessing or energy work, and it's just I interpret the energies that I find.
What are some of the findings that you've made using dowsing?
Well, the findings I've made is, as we have problems in life, we feel and surround, and as we have negative reactions. I've had many findings, but let me just sum it up where I am now with this work. as we have problems in life and we have negative reactions to our problems in life, with other people, especially our relationships, we bring in what you might call detrimental energies. But what it really is, the energies of the earth are our energetic mirrors, and they're constantly reflecting us back to us. And many people who do space clearing and whether it's through dowsing or feng shui or some other thing or some other manner or modality, they feel that earth energies that serve a function in the earth, a natural good function in the earth, can cause problems in our lives. Mental problems, health problems, emotional problems, all kind of problems. I say they're here to support us. They're here to support our everything. And again, they support our negative stuff by reflecting us back to us. So the more negative we are in our lives, they reflect back more negativity within us and around us, and it can just create ruts, energetic ruts. The more positive we are in our lives, the more positive and beneficial the energies will be, and it'll help us more and more. And you can once you understand this, you can start changing your life, especially through, again, by asking whatever you consider the divine through the blessing process to bless you, bless the energies of your energies and the energies of your home, of the earth that support you, to help you in life with anything, and it changes, and it's amazing, and it's just the same. It goes back to the old principles of positive thinking, positive emotions, prayer, and blessing.
Wow. How long does it take
Simple.
you to? How
really?
Long, yeah. You see, there's something. I love what you just said. Simple. I believe that life is simple. We complicate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me, how long does it take you to teach someone to douse?
Usually a few minutes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, sometimes it could take seconds, but I've developed a little process that I take them through first. Sometimes people can just hold those rods, let's say a pair of the bent L-shape, let's say, I say bent pieces of wire. I've got, like I said, more formal, they're made for the purpose.
Right.
But you can just hold a pair of the dowsing of bent pieces of wire, L-shaped pieces of wire in your hands, and then you walk and you point them forward, and you hold the small parts of the L in your hands. You point the long parts ahead of you parallel to each other, and you walk forward asking to find, let's say, anything, but asking to find, let's say, underground water.
Right.
The rods will either open or cross, and it just sometimes it happens to people automatically. Other people need some coaching, so I've developed a little system to help them get it more accurately. Once you can get a confident dowsing reaction to anything, let's say the most commonly thought of thing, underground water, you can learn to do with enough diligence everything that I do.
Wow.
Because all I've done is just been a passionate explorer of the energies of the universe and try to understand them as much as I can, and I've been guided from within for many years, as we're all guided from within, but I've been guided from within to understand what these energies are, much about what these energies are about.
Joey,
and
stand by, Joey. Joey, we've got to take our
day.
news break. We've got to take our news break. We'll be back. Another cliffhanger here on the X Zone with my very special guest, the one and only Joey Korn. And we'll be back on the other side. Visit Joey's website, dowsers.com. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. Joey Korn is my special guest this hour. www.dowsers.com. gmail.com. And Joy, before we went to the commercial break, you were telling us about how some people pick up dowsing very fast, but it usually takes you a couple of minutes. Why would a person, let me rephrase that, after all the years you've been teaching dowsing, have you found any common threads between the people who want to learn to dowse? Or is it a broad spectrum of people who want to learn to dowse for a wide variety of reasons?
Yeah, well, the most commonly thought of reason, again, is to find water, and then people that have spiritual pursuits and spiritual drives, let's say, interests, they think, well, what does dowsing, finding a place to drill a water well, have to do with spirituality?
Good question.
I say, if you can find a place to drill a water well and find water there, and then some dowsers, water well dowsers can tell you how deep you'll have to drill. They'll tell you how clean, how good the water will be. They'll tell you what kinds of rocks sometimes you'll be going through at what depths. If you can do all that with a pair of bent up coat hangers or pieces of metal or a forked stick, that's spiritual. And so, but again, I've just taken it way beyond that, and I'd like to go back to answer a little bit more about the question of science.
Please do.
Science behind it.
Yeah.
The reason science doesn't accept dowsing, for the most part, is because there are no sensitive enough instruments to meters or gauges that will detect these energies that we can find with dowsing, these kinds of energies that we can find with dowsing. And since they can't detect it independently of a human being involved in the process with some kind of dowsing tool or just with their body, they don't accept it. And so, that doesn't mean it's not real.
No.
Can you detect God? Can you detect,
You can't detect
there are
the
many
love.
things
Yeah, sure.
that we certainly believe in that are real that we can't detect.
So what has been the most fascinating article or thing that you have ever dowsed?
People.
People?
Every single day, I douse people and their homes. I do what I call remote spiritual house cleanings. I started out doing it in their homes, exploring the energies of people's homes. I started out thinking that the energies of the earth, as many dowsers would think, and many other space clearers think, are separate and distinct from us and can cause problems in our lives. Then I started realizing the energies of the earth are the energies of life. They're life force energies, and they're part of us. They're not really separate from us. They're reflecting us. And so every single day, I'm dowsing people's homes. I've developed a method to douse people's homes and their personal energies and the energies of their families, and they could be anywhere in the world. All I need is a name, an address, and a request, and I can tell them from a name, an address, and a request. I can tell them really often what's going on in their lives in a rational, logical process. And I just help people so much in life, and it's just amazing. It amazes me every single day. I don't know. There's just so often I go to my wife and I say, this was just so perfect. And I tell her the story of what happened, what I found and what was going on in the person's life. And I'm just totally fascinated by it. And that's what keeps me doing it.
So tell me, how did you discover that you could do this, spiritual clearing?
Well, I learned early on that you could find these detrimental energies. This was back in the mid 90s. That you could find energies that were weakening to us. And I learned there dowsers use many techniques, and other people like feng shui practitioners use techniques to block, divert, neutralize, or reverse these energies. send them away, let's say. And then in '96, I learned one day. I said, "This all must involve intent. There's so many ways to do this. If it's all about intent, then we should just be able to do it. Just use our intent." So I started using the blessing process. When I realized that I could change energies with the blessing process to make them beneficial, that you could demonstrate with dowsing and muscle testing through, it would weaken our bodies. You could change them immediately with blessing. I said, there's something special about this. And then I realized we must be causing, if we can make them beneficial, we must have some role in making them. I mean, if we can make them detrimental, right. No, I was right the first time. If we can make them beneficial with the blessing, we must play some role in making them detrimental in the first place. And that's when I started realizing that most of the energy problems in people's homes are not because of what's going on in the earth or in the geographic area. It's what's going on in our lives. Most of our energy problems in our homes are caused by our relationships with ourselves, with our immediate family members, our extended family members, and our circle of family and friends. And I've learned how to explore all that, and I guess and I've learned how to help people correct that through positive actions in life, changing their attitudes about life, but also through the blessing process by asking whatever they consider the divine to bless them and charge them with energy to help them in their lives.
How does dowsing help earthbound spirits?
Well, earthbound spirit, I really believe that. I had I told you I had an out-of-body experience.
Yes.
I left my body. I was definitely not in my body, and I thought I was dead. And when I I was so far away, I thought I'd never get back. But when I finally came back, I was floating outside of my body. I knew immediately I am not my body. When my body dies, I'm not going to die. I'm a living soul that motivates my body. I went back into my body and proceeded on with it to improve my life. Now, I do understand that concept. When we die, we're not dead. And we go in, we exist in the physical plane and the astral plane. Let's say the next dimension.
Okay.
And when we die, we go through the astral plane first, and if we're too tied to the astral plane, too tied to the earth, then too tied to a person or place, we might not choose to leave, and we might be afraid to leave and enter that tunnel that everybody's heard about, to follow the light, and we get stuck in the astral plane. And then we might think we're still alive on the earth, and it's much like the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze.
Oh,
yeah. And we think we're still here, but we're not. And we want to help our loved ones, but we're actually harming them because we get frustrated, we get angry, they can't hear us. Anyway, I have learned to find evidence. I've learned to find evidence that an earthbound spirit is still hanging around the place. And I don't change energies with dowsing. I only use dowsing to detect energies. But I've learned to detect the energies that are related to earthbound spirits, and I use the blessing process to move them on and to help them re-enter that tunnel, follow that light, and go home with a capital H. And when they go home, the pattern just disappears, and they never come back because they realize what they've been missing.
How would somebody listening tonight know if they needed to call Joey Korn or go to his website and contact Joey Korn because they need to be doused?
If they feel, anybody that has big problems in life that they don't understand and they want to get a grip on, I can help them with. Now, my work is ultimately helpful to everybody because we all have some problems in life. Some people have it more than others. A big clue: if you feel worse in your home than you do when you're outside of your home, if you don't sleep as well when you're at home than when you're away, if you just don't feel as well, if you're depressed when you're home, if if the energies of your home should be supportive of you, you should feel more comfortable in your home than other places. And if that's not the case, that's a big hint. And if your dog is reacting, or your cat is reacting, hissing or barking to things that you can't see, I can probably help you with that. But it's more, people that I guess that sort of sums it up. But again, anybody, if there's certain areas of your home, certain rooms that you don't feel good in,
right,
and you avoid, or your child avoids. That's another one. If children won't go in a particular room, or they see monsters or whatever, especially in certain areas, that's a good sign. Children can see things that we don't see anymore. Maybe we see them in our dreams and we fear them, but and I say them, not it's all energy ultimately, and it's ultimately good. Even the negative stuff of life is ultimately to help us understand life better.
You mentioned
sort of like a police force.
Gotcha. An energy police force.
Yeah.
You mentioned animals. Can animals also benefit from the services of a dowser?
Yeah, with me, there's certain places when I connect. The way I do a remote session, I do it all through blessing, and I don't know anybody else that does it quite the way I do. I say a blessing to connect my client's energies with a bed in my home, because we have an energy pattern. There's a tangible pattern of energies around every person, and we always imprint it where we sleep or where we lie down on a physical structure like a bed. And when I connect to all the energies of the home, including human-related, animal-related, earth-related, electrical fields around appliances, and people's patterns will appear in certain places that tell me something about the relationship to the person. And animals have the very similar pattern, and it appears in certain places in my home that tells me it's an animal. Oh. And I can often, I can help with that too.
Now, what about these electrical appliances and these electronic pieces of equipment that emanate electricity? How can you help us with that? Well,
people around the world are afraid of electrical fields that radiate from appliances, called EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. Of course, everything is ultimately, I guess, an EMF, a frequency. And it's all about some form of electricity or light. But every electrical appliance you buy has an energy field that you can detect with a meter or a gauge. That's the physical electrical field. The meter is commonly called a Gauss meter, or there's other meters like that, cell sensor. And some people are so afraid of it. And that's I guess that's one of the big messages I'm trying to get across in life. Not just about in my work right now. Not just about EMF, but things we're afraid of is fear often that's more crippling than what we fear. Some people think that they are sensitive or they have electrostress. Now, some people might genuinely have that, but I think many more people think they do than they do, and they fear that it's going to affect us and harm us and make us sick and other problems. And I have found that there's a subtle counterpart to the electrical field that we can measure with a meter. That the subtle counterpart, this field is a spiraling field coming out of every device. It will weaken us right out of the box once it's plugged in if you're in that spiraling field. But you can use blessing. Ask the whatever you consider the divine or the powers of the universe to bless that field and that device to make the energies from it beneficial. It'll become beneficial and help us in life. And you can also put your intent into that field to help you with particular issues in your life. In fact, if people go to my website, dowsers.com, sign up to be on the mailing list, which I only send out a few emails a year, like 3 or 4 a year. I don't inundate people. They'll get free access to 2 audio interviews like this one, and they'll also get free access to a sample chapter from my book, Dowsing: A Path to Enlightenment, which
Joey?
The whole chapter is about working with electrical fields radiating
Joey,
from appliances.
Joey, we've got to take our final break. Please stand by. Joey Korn is our guest, Dowsers.com. We'll be back on the other side as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone. Don't go away. Exonation, Joey Korn is our guest, www.dowsers.com. Joey, tell us about your new revised edition of your book, Dowsing: A Path to Enlightenment. What's new in it?
Okay, the first version of it I wrote back in '97, and it was a work in progress for many years. But I had an experience in '99 that made me realize I wasn't finished with it. I had a lot more work to do. So I just kept improving it through the years. But I was always trying to catch it up with my current experience, current understandings, which I've finally done. So the current edition of my book, the first 2 parts of my book are about my journey. I tell the stories of my experiences of how I learned to douse and do other things. And then I give exercises at the end of each chapter to help the reader learn, progress as I progressed and learn as I learned. And then the last part so that's my old book, the improved version of my old book, which is part 1 and part 2. Part 3 is basically what my understandings right now, especially as to the energies of that support us in life that we've been talking about, and exercises to not only experience these energies, but to change them and improve our lives. And it's really about changing our energies, because as we use the blessing process and action, right action, to improve our own lives, the energies of our homes will be more and more beneficial, because they're always reflecting us back to us. And that's what part 3 is all about.
Joey, I've got about a minute and a half left. Quickly, tell me about the gourmet dowsing retreats.
We call them gourmet dowsing retreats because we have retreats every quarter in our home here near Augusta, Georgia. 5 days and 5 nights. You stay with us, and you stay here. You eat with us, and I love to eat and I love to cook, and we have great food tailored to the likes of every group. Wow. And I mean, we hold nothing back, and so it's a lot of fun. It's the best way to learn my work. I teach around in places around the world, but this is the best way to learn my work. to come and immerse yourself in it with me, and we have a lot of fun and a lot of good food in the process.
Wow. Well, we've got so much to talk about. We've done a great job tonight. Joey, I really appreciate the hard work you do, and I love the way that you're touching people's hearts and making a positive difference in their lives. So I want to thank you so much for joining us, Joey, but quickly, let our listeners know where they can get a copy of your book and, once again, your website.
Well, you can just, the best way is dowsers.com. That's DOWSERS.com. We have a toll-free number for the U.S. and Canada, which is 877-369-7464. And you can go either way. You can call us or you can go to our website. And you can learn a lot about what I do at the website, including the remote dowsing work, including electrical fields around working with those, electrical fields around appliances, and you can learn a lot.
Joey, thanks a lot for being with us. Always a great pleasure talking to you. Continued success, my friend.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Take care, Joey. X-Zone Nation, Joey Korn has been my guest this hour. www.dowsers.com. I will guarantee you that there's not one person out there listening tonight who knew as much about dowsing when we started an hour ago as we do now. Dowsers.com is the website. I'll be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away.